This whole concept of raising your frequency could be a little confusing, but it's really simple. Essentially, it's just about finding a better way. It's just about becoming aware of what you have or what you are doing, for so to recognize what would be a better way. And you are probably raising your frequency around a lot of things in a day. And the higher frequency you are, the more things you can take care of in a day, the more things you recognize. But it goes down to the smallest little experiences you have to the bigger ones. Everything will be done in a certain way. There will be a mindset around it. There will be a way of perceiving it. And if you can just perceive it a little better, well, then you have raised your frequency. And it really goes with everything. I mean, the way you pour your coffee, or the way you think about yourself, absolutely everything. So you are constantly raising your frequency. That is just something everyone is always doing. And sometimes you might take your frequency down a little. But of course we want to raise our frequency to 911. That's a bigger job than people do in a normal life. They will of course become more mature and wiser and find better ways of doing things, but we're talking about something totally different here. We're talking about ultimate clarity about the game and yourself, and phenomenal ability to deal with yourself. But you see that essentially you are someone who can do it. All the other people in the world are just a part of the script and the game. They're not real. It's just a perfectly natural thing in life to want to be happy and to do what is needed for you to be happy, and to be on a journey where you learn more about how you can be happy. So 9/11 is just the simplest truth about this game. It's the simplest knowledge about who you are and how to deal with yourself. And the further you walk away from this truth, the further down the frequency levels you go, and that will be your experience. And of course you would have to misunderstand things to step away from that truth. And at some point you have misunderstood, let's say, everything. You would be down in third dimension. You would think that you needed to eat meat to survive, and you think that the world is a big random place. But you might be wondering what frequency level you're on. And you see that essentially it doesn't really matter. What really matters is to what degree are you experiencing happiness and empowerment and freedom and clarity. I mean, that's really all that matters. If you're on 5th or 6th or 7th dimension, it doesn't matter. You just want to be free and empowered and happy, and you want to truly have that experience. But of course, if you now were to know what frequency level you are on, you could better reflect on what is needed from you to be on that frequency level. So of course it could be helpful, but essentially that's not where you need to keep your focus. You recognize how happy you are, or how troubled you are, or how free you are. And you should keep your eyes on the prize. Don't waste any time learning more about what was needed from you to get to 5th or 6th dimension. Just keep reaching for 9/11 and do the work that appears on that way. But anyway, it could be pretty nice to know that you have gotten out of 4th dimension. And it's a lot easier than you think. If you have stopped eating meat for the reason of raising your frequency and experiencing more happiness, then you're on a very good way to resonate with the type of work that needs to be done for you to truly step into fifth dimension. If you stop eating meat for those reasons of wanting a better life and not for saving the animals or poor animals, then you will probably naturally find yourself wanting to forgive people, wanting to forgive yourself, wanting to find out more about happiness. You might develop a stronger desire to be happy. You might experience a higher degree of happiness, and you might want more. But you also need to recognize that religion is holding you back. There is no God above yourself. Also, sin and karma. You don't want to believe that there is any karma. It's going to keep you down. Same with right and wrong, that you're going to be judged for it. You need to let go of it. Those things are very far away from the ultimate truth, and they're going to keep you down. And when you have overcome those things, you will be able to experience freedom to a totally different degree. So, if you have stopped eating meat, if you let go of sin and karma and religion and any concept of right and wrong, well, then you're definitely in fifth dimension, and probably higher. It's really not complicated at all. It's just stepping more and more towards this truth that you ultimately are. And not much really is needed from you to be in fifth dimension. So you see that it's just about finding a better way, a way that is more in alignment with the ultimate source truth. And as that is what you intend for, as you intend for freedom, ultimate happiness, then you will resonate with the work that needs to be done for you to get there. And you will get exactly the type of work you need to do for you to raise your frequency. And like I said, it really doesn't matter what frequency level you are on now, as long as you intend and fully commit yourself to doing what is needed for you to experience higher frequencies. You would also benefit from knowing that if you tried to deal with 20 of your biggest problems right now, and you were going to deal with all of them in just 1 second, then it would be very difficult. And what I'm saying now is that it's perfectly normal if you are on a certain frequency level to still have problems that might be way below that frequency level. Just because you experience a mindset about something or a certain experience doesn't mean that that is your core frequency that you are harmonized into and experiencing. There will always be more work to do and more lower frequency things you could take care of. And at some point you will, but just because you haven't now doesn't mean that that is the frequency level you're on. But of course, if you give into that problem and fully surround yourself in it, then you can take your frequency down. So you should probably deal with it, but it doesn't mean that your frequency is all the way down there. And you have probably noticed sometimes if you say something that is a little out of character, or you do something that is out of character, then you will probably know that it's out of character because you recognize to a degree what frequency you're normally on. And right there you got a little glimpse into the dimension you're normally experiencing. So not all of your problems or thoughts or behaviors are a perfect reflection of the frequency level that you are on. But if you look around and you recognize what you are normally dealing with in a day, how you are perceiving the world, well, then you could understand to a degree if it's far away from ultimate freedom. But still you might fool yourself along the way and think that you have gotten to 9/11 because how could I possibly be more powerful than this? But if you are on a journey where you constantly, no matter what, want more freedom, more empowerment, well, then you will always see that there is more. Of course, when you reach 9/11, and especially when you have stayed there for a while, you recognize that there is one truth, and it's pretty simple. It's a simple truth, and there is no truth beyond it that is just as high as it goes. It's just the simplest truth. But of course, it's infinitely wide, and you can know infinitely much things. You can have infinite clarity in the width of 9/11.